Are you having a podcast? Just the name.
You are now listening to the Brothers and Lovers Podcast. Welcome. Come on. Stand up, rise up, rise. What you gonna do about it? Get your mind up. How you gonna move about it? Get your shoulders right. And you get right to it, and we unite. Cause they gotta fight. Shall I stand by my brother's side? If he's wrong, I should tell him why. Enter battle, we shall ride. Let the world feel our battle cry. Stand up, rise up, rise. What you gonna do about it? Get your mind up. How you gonna move about it? Get your shoulders right. And you get right to it, and we unite. Cause they gotta fight. Stand up, rise up. What you gonna do about it? Get your mind up. How you gonna move about it? Get your shoulders right. And you get right to it, and we unite. Yes. Welcome, gentlemen. I go by the name of City. I would like to welcome you to Brothers and Lovers Podcast, episode 21. Woo. Okay, well, I asked my panel of brothers to bring their love for their children, our love for our families, and our love for our communities, mix it with some passion, sprinkle some facts to the uncomfortable conversations. Tonight on my panel, I got my brother, Larry.
Here we go again. We already back. This feel like we never left, huh? Listen, man, I go by the name of Larry Harrison, man. If y'all ain't been watching, you should probably catch up. Yo, King Noah, Elijah, I do it for y'all. I do it for the culture. I love you forever. You heard me? Life of Phoenix. Let's get it.
Yes. Okay, and I also got my brother, Ron.
What's going on? How's everybody doing, Ron? I'm glad to be here, man. I'm feeling Brother Larry's energy already. It's kind of getting me hyped and excited, but I'm definitely glad to be here and looking forward to a good show tonight.
Yes. Last but not least, I got my brother, Harvey.
Grace, peace, and blessings. I'm glad to be here. Let's get this bad boy started. Let's go.
Hey, okay. All right, so I'm just going to pass this to my brother, Larry, and let him hold this conversation, hold the discussion down tonight. So you go ahead, brother Larry. Go ahead. Let's get it. This is good.
Okay, so let's jump on into it, man. So for y'all don't know, in the beginning of every show, I always shout out my sons, King Noah, Elijah. So 5 years ago, King Noah was born. So the title of the show tonight is King Noah, but maybe not for the reasons that y'all thinking. So I gave a story to my brothers on the panel one day. They were asking me a question pertaining to King Noah. And the questions went somewhere along the lines of, King Noah is King Noah. Why do I call him king? And I call Elijah. Why is he not prince or young king? So no one was aware of the fact that King Noah's name, his first name is King Noah. And with reason. So his mother and I, when we decided to have him, his name was just going to be Noah. So his name is King Noah Phoenix. So Noah represented Noah's Ark, who was supposed to be the father of a new world. And Phoenix was the representation of no matter how hard life got, whenever it burned you and it dropped you or you felt like you were on the short end of the stick, you would always rise from the ashes. So that's where his name came from. King was added in because, at the time where his mother and I were in that moment, I was king, she was queen. So it was only right that we give birth to a king. So he was from birth, we had already thought that God had appointed us for him to be that. So the title for this show comes from a place where for the last 5 years, we've both had some interactions with some different types of people with a debate over why or when he should be addressed as King Noah. So it has less to do about the individual and more to do about where we are as a people, black, white, green, or indifferent, in terms of, do we have a superiority complex? Do we have an inferiority complex? Because I can only speak for me, and I know that this panel, we generated this panel to speak to our people. And my interactions with most of our people have been, most people call him Noah. And I've had to correct it on many different occasions. And I've always had to sit back with myself and say, why? Because the correction isn't directed at those who don't know me. It's directed at those who are closest to me. And I would think, don't we address each other as kings? These brothers on these panels, I met them on this panel, and every day anytime I speak to them, I'm like, my brother. It's not my brother the same or the equivalent to calling a brother king, because in my mind, I'm saying it's not only a term of endearment, but I want you to know what you represent. I want you to understand your importance, the magnitude of what you represent to me. When I look at every social media outlet, we refer to our sisters as queens. We refer to black men of I guess whether they're doing wrong or right, we refer to just black men as being kings. Here it is, my son is named King, and yet I've had to defend it more so than not because that's his name. So I'll just open it up with that. My opening question is, does anyone feel like what we name ourselves? Because let me digress. Let me just backtrack just a little bit. Queen Elizabeth, Queen is her title. Barack Obama is President Barack Obama, and he is no longer president. But when you address him, you still call him president. So I ask, are our titles and our names, are they that much different? And do we as a people feel, and when I say people, I mean black, white, or indifferent, do we feel like the way we address someone takes away from our own validity, our own presence? And I'll leave it at that. City, I'll go to you first.
Hit me with the hard questions, right? The name. I remember when names actually did mean something. I guess you could say. Nowadays, people just name stuff just whatever they want. Like I don't think people take. I'm not gonna say. I don't think a lot of people take consideration of a name nowadays. I'm gonna leave it at that. What you think, Ron?
You said Ron?
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think something about that makes us uncomfortable. When I say us, not me in particular, because it doesn't. But I think it's something about us when there's something positive, it tends to make us uncomfortable. What I mean is that we have no problem. We don't, we've agreed on this podcast not to use the N-word, but we have no problem referring to each other as an N-word. I mean, there's no problem at all. And we say it's a term of endearment. We flipped it. We did this, we did that, whatever you want to call it. But there's, a lot of people have no problem with it. I'm making a general statement, obviously, because there are some people who really do have a problem with it. And there's no questions asked. It's, yo, what's up, my N-word or whatever, and there's no question asked. There's nothing said about it. But as Larry just pointed out, when he named his son King, and even if people didn't know that was his name, they would have a problem referring to him, so they automatically shortened it. They didn't want to call him King, or they don't want to call each other King. And to me, that's the real issue: is what is it about us that we will embrace the negative more readily than we would something positive? And I don't know the answer to that.
Is it on me right now? Well, I have a lot to say on this topic. And the reason why I have a lot to say on it, because first of all, we see people as we see ourselves. So if we don't see ourselves as kings, of course we're going to have an issue with referring to someone else as a king. I'm going to take it a step further. Me personally, I think that, when we address people by their proper names, we're showing respect. So if it's King, Noah, or Queen, we're showing respect. Showing respect for the person and showing respect for ourselves Now, when it comes down to the title king, and we're not talking about King Noah right now, we're talking about the title king. You know, I don't take that term very lightly, because if I'm calling myself a king, then that means that I'm building an empire. That means that I'm building a infrastructure that allows me to be considered king. You know, and that means that now I'm stepping into the responsibility of myself and for my children, for my family, and for my fellow brothers and sisters, because that's what kings do. Kings build empires, and those empires, you know, have infrastructures where, you know, that infrastructure is taking care of all, from my perspective, is taking care of the people that reside within that empire. So, you know, I don't call everybody king. In regards to King Noah, that is his name. Of course, I will always refer to him as King Noah. But as far as like a man, if you say you a king, the word says, by their fruit you shall know them. So your kingdom is not what you say, it's how you live your life. And on that, I yield.
So I appreciate those.
Hold
So
on,
your hand go up.
Yeah, man, my fault. I was looking for the blind. But people call people kings all the time, though. You see what I'm saying? And that's if. Why would it be an issue if it's in their name, then? I'm just trying to.
Okay, first of all, I said as far as a name, that's King Noah's name.
I'm talking about the people who don't have king, like who don't have king in their name, who just walking down the street and just, hey, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they do this all the time.
Okay, well, let me answer. Let me answer this. First of all, if you look at the origin of a king, whenever there's an empire, you can have many different. Like, say for example, you can have many different kings in a particular empire. Like back in the word, you know, you had kings of different empires, and so therefore, but there's only one king in each empire, and so therefore, and the offspring of those kings would be considered princes, and princesses. And so, and it's not until that king expires that one of those princes steps up and becomes the king of that empire. Or if that empire was taken over by another empire, then the new incoming hierarchy would be considered the king. So again, when it comes down to king, the reason why I personally don't always call everybody king is because, with all due respect, that title, if you're gonna operate from that title is earned. It's not just given. You know what I'm saying? And so if I'm gonna call you king, it's because I see you, and I see you operating as a king. You taking care of your business. You're being responsible to your family. You're being responsible to your community. You're being responsible to yourself. I call you king because you deserve that title. And on that,
I totally disagree. Because I think what you're saying, it should be that way, but it's not that way. What is former Prince Charles done to deserve to be called King Charles of England? What has he done? Other than be born. He was born.
Hold on. Prince Charles was still Prince Charles until he assumed the throne after Queen Elizabeth made her transition. He then escalated to King Charles. And so therefore, by his birthright, and I'm glad you brought that up. And you can just,
because you said earned, not given.
Well, listen, it's so funny. No, listen, it's so interesting to see the two of you do this. And I'm gonna take this a completely different way, because I already know where you went and I know where Harv is about to go. So let's just let me streamline it back down just a little bit, because Harv made a point. Brother Harv, and I don't want to cut you off, so I'm hoping that you can hold on and get back to it. But you made a point in reference. No, actually, it wasn't Brother Harv. It was you, Brother Ron, in terms of the N-word and how loosely we use it. So in my mind, the way I look at it now, because this wasn't a term of endearment or phrase that I heard often when I heard peace, king. Good morning, King. It's love, King. Peace, love, beloved. I didn't hear the term beloved until I saw what's the lady on television? Help save my life.
Oprah Winfrey.
Not Oprah. No, it wasn't Oprah. It wasn't Oprah. It was Ayanla.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Before I heard Ayanla on television, I had never heard the term beloved. And I might have read it 100 times in the Bible, but I had never heard it used verbally from any of a human being's mouth. So I think that I don't want us to get it misconstrued like these terms. And I get what you're saying, Brother Harv, that the term king and queen, they are earned. But if those words are replacing the N word, I'm gonna take it as terms of endearment. That I'm gonna just say that first and foremost. Secondly, I also believe that I think that when we utilize as a people, as a black people, when we utilize these terms, king and queen, I think that it is an attempt, and in my opinion, a noble attempt to eradicate and rise above what we believe has held us down for so long. So we are now trying to empower each other through the tools that we actually are afforded by calling each other. It's not to take away from the name, but how many of us actually know each other person to person? We don't. So to call each other, to call Brother Ron when I meet him, peace, King, because it used to be OG, but everybody don't think they're OG. I call an old man a young man, and he be like, I ain't a young man, because he'd take that out of context. Nobody's taking king out of context. Nobody is going to take good day, king, out of context. Nobody's going to take good morning, queen, out of context, unless they just having a bad day and don't want to be spoken to. But it's not the term king or queen that's bothering them. It's the fact that I'm speaking to them. That's something different. So that is what actually got me to the place where I started beginning to feel like, what is the issue? Because the same people that I say good morning to that call me king ask me, how's Noah doing? So that's what got this generated, because I'm saying, you call me king, but you know my name. You call me king, but you know my life. You call me king, but you know my son, but you call him Noah, and his name is king. You call me king as title. His name is King Noah, but you will not refer to him as king. Explain to me, because you can't also call him king either. Let's just be clear. It's not just a matter of you calling him Noah. You also can't call him king, because his name is King Noah. I am his father. His mother is his mother. I can call him what I want. I can shorten his name any way I want. But you, out of respect, you will call him by his full name, or you will call him nothing. I've had a friend of mine, close. How's Noah? Who's Noah? I don't know who you're talking about. You mean King Noah? Oh, now you know. No, I don't know. And it's not to make a riff. It's not to make you feel less than. It's just that you wouldn't want me to find a new name for you because I didn't like the name that was given to you. I remember in every rap song, I don't know if you guys heard it, because we've all been around long enough. The rap songs and the comedians, when a woman has a daughter, she names her daughter Mercedes because that's the car she wants. She names her daughter Lexus, spells it the same way because she wants a Lexus. Names her daughter Infinity because that's the name she wants. She names her Princess because she thinks she's a princess. Lisa Ray got the best name in the world, named Diamond. I like that movie too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But you know, I like what you're saying, but I do think we do have the power to speak things into existence as well. And so when you know, because the word teaches us that about the power, life and death lies in the tongue. And so we speak those things into existence. You're speaking positivity. And so when you call someone that, and I think that's where that, I don't know, I mean, but I think that's where that came from. And it's almost like, I don't mind, you know, some people who will call you king, it's almost like, I don't mind speaking that positive into your life, but I got a problem calling this young man by his name. And I think that speaks to a whole nother issue that goes on within mind sometimes. But, you know, the same guy who doesn't mind elevating you to something, it's almost like they take it that makes them less than if they have to
So
refer to somebody else by
you
their
know what I had come up with, Brother Ron, to be honest with you, like, cause like I told you, I was pondering this, like it was sitting with me, and I didn't really know how I was going, where I would go with this, because it was sitting on me. Like I didn't want the message to get misconstrued, but I also feel like it speaks to a larger picture. It speaks to everything that we are experiencing in this current day. It speaks to everything that ties into the things that have happened and the things that continue to happen, to where we pick and choose where we will allow strength to exist. We pick and choose where we will allow respect to be given. We pick and choose where and what should be valued, because that's what we think. And is it for personal gain? Is it personal preference? Like, is it preferential? Is it personal perseverance? Like, what exactly does my black skin mean to me? And what does yours mean to you? Because at some point, some things in the Webster Dictionary, they shouldn't be so many words to define the same thing. And when it comes to who we are and what we are, those definitions should walk a fine line, and not being parallel, but crossing, blending, and being one, not a salad bowl, but a melting pot. And I think we are now in a place where we've allowed our culture to be broken down so much and invaded and evaded, and so much just little things so toxic that we look at it and we say, not me. I don't care. It ain't my problem. It's all of our problems when you decide to give your child a name. It's all our problems when you decide to create a business with a name that you love, thinking that that's going to represent you, your hard work, your people. Yeah, I spoke that name so it would manifest upon the life of my son. Not that he would rule anybody, but he would be ruler over his own situation. That he would understand that I gave you the name King because I know a king. And I can teach you about that king, so that when you get old enough to understand what your name means, you'll have a king to go talk to. Like, I had all of that in my mind. That name didn't come out the sky. It wasn't for nobody to feel bad. It wasn't for someone to feel small. It was actually for you to know you can do it. You don't got to be afraid. You think I didn't know what he endured? Oh, of course I did. Fully aware. But I know a God that's bigger than man. So I wasn't worrying about what man was going to do. But I also know if I named him king, at some point, he'd lock in. And he wouldn't worry about what man would do either. So let me say this. So now that we've got all of that out, have any of you, let's just bring it full circle, because it's not just about a name. It ain't just about the name King, Noah. It's anything. Have any of you been in a position to where you felt that there was something that you put yourself into, you put your heart into, that didn't receive the respect that it deserved, that it warranted, based upon what you poured into it? And you couldn't wrap your head around why it was coming at you this way, considering what you know about how what people support, what people actually sacrifice. And here you are thinking that you're making the same sacrifice, warranting the same support, and for some strange reason, that wasn't the reception. Brother Ron, I'm gonna go to you first.
You know, I think all of us have experienced something like that. And I'll be honest with you, it hurts. It hurts because the only one that can give you the hurt is someone that's close enough to you, wherein their opinion, how they view you, matters. And if their opinion matters and they, minimize what you've done, it's truly, it hurts, and I don't care who you are, because when you do something and you feel good about it, whether if it's something you created, something that you've done, you want those that you care about, that you value, to place value on that thing that you've done or that you've created. And yet when they don't do that, it's bothersome. And I think it's not that we've put too much, I don't think that we've given them that much power, but I do think it's human nature. like I said, if somebody down the street says, "Oh, that was garbage," for instance, they go to Off City and say, "Look, I watched your podcast. That was garbage." If it's from someone that he doesn't know, their opinion doesn't matter as much. But if it came from his mother, you know what I mean? If his mother said, "Yo, that was terrible," that would hurt, because this is something that he thought about, he prayed about, he put a lot of effort into it, he spent a lot of time in it. So, and what we have to get at is, why would we do something like that to someone we care about? Not why did I act the way that I act? Why did I receive it that way? Is why is it that what they're doing makes us feel some kind of way that we are taking steps to tear it down, to minimize it? And because I don't believe that we don't recognize what we're doing. I think we, oftentimes we do know, and yet we do it anyway and label it as, well, I'm trying to show them something. I'm trying to save them from disappointment. I don't know. And with that, I yield.
Brother Hall.
Back in the day when I was a people pleaser, somebody else's opinion made a difference, because my value was based on the acceptance of another. In my mature years, I realized that when we try to please everybody, we can never please ourselves, because in order to please everybody, you have to diminish yourself. And so I've gotten to a place in my life now where if the Lord has given me, not if, as the Lord gives me a mission and a purpose, that's what I'm going to do, regardless of whether people receive it or not, because when I think of the word, Yeshua, Jesus, was not popular with the folks that even in the church. In fact, he went against the grain. It was the very same people that he came back for were the ones that contributed to crucify him. And so, if it's going to happen to him, why wouldn't it happen to the rest of us? You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't? So for me, you know what? Again, I love to build, and I pray that whatever is being built, it can be received. But I also know whosoever will, let them come, because he says, for the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. And so therefore, whatever it is, it's going to be. As long as I did it with the right intention, and as long as I did it, with knowing that, the Lord is in control, I'm good with it. And on that, I yield.
Brother City, I'm going to go at you with something different, man.
Okay.
I'm going to go at you with something different. So this platform, I think from the very first time that you had actually brought it up, we had talked about it over and over again, and we are all fully aware of the value that it holds with you. Yet, in your humility, you have never failed to remind us that this engine that runs this car doesn't run if we all don't take care of it. And the only thing that comes to my mind is, like, I'm thinking about the name, I'm thinking about King Noah, I'm thinking about everything that we sacrifice, the sacrifices that you've made. What would you say? What would make sense to you, if at all? Someone that knew what you invested, just from your heart, from your mind, what you invested to get this going, that someone would say to you, you would be better off being a doctor. Maybe you don't you play sports? Maybe you should go do that. Aren't you a good basketball player? You like rapping. You never thought about going to do music? Because although in their minds, it might not necessarily be the most offensive thing to suggest, because they're still, in their mind, they're still positively promoting you. They're trying to build you up, make you feel as if they're coming up with ideas because they're targeting what they deem you're good at. But in your mind, that's the worst thing they could have ever did.
Yeah.
This is what you poured into. How exactly would you, how would you ration now? How would you ration that to yourself? Like, when you had to give yourself some self-talk, in that moment, what would you say to yourself?
I still do it to this day. It's like with this whole thing, it's still a self-talk thing. But I say to myself, it's a bigger picture. It's like and that's always my argument. It's bigger than me. This is what I'm trying to do is way bigger than me. It's gonna what this is a movement. This is it's really gonna change how people think and how people interact with each other and how people move and how people build together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just what I'm trying to do. Like, I always been here to try to make my community, not even just make a better community, basically. Help my community out, make us look better, because we don't look too good. It's just, and we don't look too good because we're all missing different pieces. So as a man, if I could put up one place where all men can find all different types of pieces, because you're talking to all different types of men. You know what I mean? So my like I always said, my vision is bigger than me. Like, I can't explain it but it's bigger than me. So it's like I'm taking the steps to get this going because it's always bigger than me. I see the end goal of it. So, you know, it's just keep moving. Just you're gonna get there. That's my whole thing. I always say to myself, like, man, listen, they don't see it now because it's messed up. But we don't see a vision until the vision is already down the road, halfway built, and then we like, oh snap, I see where you going with that. Like, you know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. So it's like I gotta get halfway down the road for they can see what I'm doing. Like, oh, that's what he was talking about. He was talking about that the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, so
Can I say
go ahead,
something?
brother.
I mean, the vision thing is personal to me, because you know, people tell you things because they do mean well, and they're giving you advice based on what they see. But when it comes to a vision that I believe that God has given you, it's not meant for anyone else to see it.
Yeah.
It's because that's why He placed it in you. I wear glasses. These glasses help me see. They give me a vision. If I put these glasses on you, you're not going to be able to see. Yep. It's going to be distorted because they weren't made for you. And so that's what's so crazy. And I will mean well. You know, I'm like, look, City, yo, these glasses, they're great. You need to wear these. You know, it's going to help you see things clearer. It will give you the direction. And I'm coming from a place of love. I think what I'm saying is correct. But when you put them on, they're not going to work for you at all because the manufacturer did not make them from you. The person who knew me, who examined me, who knew what my issues were, who knew what my sight was, created this especially for me. And that's what we have to remember. The person who created us, who has the blueprint for our lives, you know, our maker, the one and only true God, He knows who we are. He created a vision for us. He gives it to us, and it's up to us to move in that direction and implement that vision. But we oftentimes allow other people to come in, and when I'm talking about people with the best of intentions. Yeah. You know, they truly believe that what they're saying to us is for our benefit, and they can derail us. And I mean, and this is true in all aspects of life. There's so many athletes that were derailed, you know, and you hear about the ones who stuck to what their vision was, you know, particularly, let's talk about Black quarterbacks just for a second. So many Black quarterbacks, their story is, I had to fight to stay at the quarterback position because there were always coaches who said, you know, I need to put you as a cornerback. You've got speed, you've got athleticism. Say, no, but I'm a quarterback. No. You would do so much better. You would do so much better. And so we see that happening in football all the time. But my point is, it happens in every aspect of our lives. And if you're not careful and adhere to your vision, then you will follow the direction of someone else and totally be blind, like if Offset tried to put on my glasses. And with that, I yield.
And Brother Ron, I want to speak to that. You said some key points that I have to really address. You said that the person well, the people that helped for you to create those glasses, they examined you. They took the time out to understand what your needs were. And based on their understanding and knowledge of vision, based on their knowledge of understanding on how vision works, and based on understanding who you are and your needs, they addressed the idea of creating these glasses for you. So what does that mean? That means that if we're going to give someone some kind of advice, it's our responsibility to examine them and see them from their place of need. Now, here's the thing. Even if we're examining somebody and identifying their place of need, if we have no expertise in that area, we will misdiagnose or misguide them in the information that we give because we have no knowledge of that. We have no expertise in that area. Now, sometimes we can go on feeling, but here's the thing. Even if we go on feeling, we're only feeling from a place of understanding. So what does that mean? That means that, you know what? If I grew up and something happened and I was afraid or something, and then I'm giving you advice based on my fear, not on who you are, and not on your ability to expedite and acquire this thing that I'm warning you against. So as people, it's very important that we examine ourselves and our own intent, and the word says study to show ourselves approved. And then if we're going to give advice to another brother, we give them advice based on examining them and our ability to enrich their lives based on our knowledge, not only of them, but of ourselves. And on that, I just want to say one more thing, and I'm gonna leave it alone. Brother Ron, I appreciate you because there's so many Jews that you are dropping in the same sense. I'm just leaving right there. I yield.
So I'm listening to all of this, right? And it's funny because I don't want to digress and go too far, but I see how all of you have tied in to what you deem could be the shortcomings of those who have these issues. And the only thing I keep hearing this voice in my head saying, you know what, maybe is there an unspoken brokenness? Is it something that's even that serious? Could it just be a choice to not just want to something that you said earlier, Brother Hoff? If you don't see the king in you, how can you see the king in me? I understand that. That registers, that resonates. But then I think, and then I simplify my thought process, right? And I kind of dumb it down a little bit. And I say, well, what could you anticipate seeing in that of a child? What could you define? What could you take away from the lack thereof, or what could you add to who he is at this point to not call him by his name? So I thought about a couple of things. Maybe it's the king you don't see in his father. Okay, let's go with that. I can go with that thought. Maybe that's one thing. So then maybe we really not friends. I don't know. Let's just play that card, right? Or we can go with that complex again. We can go with that ingrained complex that's stitched into our DNA, where we've been held back for so long that we think that oppression only has but so many definitions. And somehow it plays out into how we address one another, how we deal with one another. Because, and I have to tie it back to just my son being a child and his name just being his name. Because at the end of the day, the power in the name is what you place in it. I know what power I placed in it. I know what power I prayed to have placed in the name when he would come to, when it will materialize and he'd understand it. The power you place in it is your choice. But it doesn't give you choice. and how you interact with them, what you call them. So when I thought about the question that I asked to off city, where, have you ever invested in something and found someone trying to steer you off? It's no different than you naming your child something and someone trying to call them something different. Because it's something that you thought about, something that you might have sat down with your wife or your fiance or just the child's mother at the time, and you really gave some thought to it. That child could have been born in love. So that name was created in love. There is no greater power than love. So if it was created in that, imagine the offense that one could feel. No different than Brother Harv. You're a musician. And you're not an average musician. You are a musician. You are that. When you think about music, you are music. Your ears hear music. Your eyes see music. They read music. When you speak, it's music. You love music. Shouldn't nobody take that from you? Shouldn't nobody tell you a musician? Could you imagine? Because all the strength in the world that you feel, you still couldn't readily accept somebody walking in to something that you don't put together and say, who the musician? Him? You? Before you realize who you are in God's eyes, you're gonna have to dumb it down because of who you want to be in man's eyes in that minute. But why? The point of this title of this particular show is, but I call it King Noah, but the only thing I keep asking, but why? But why? What would be the root of it? And I'm speaking to our people. So if there's anyone out there that's listening, if you tuned in, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you found us at, wherever you're tuned in at, chime in. Because I'm honestly curious. I'm not trying to be facetious at all. I'm not offering any platform for humor. I'm not trying to be funny at all. I really would like to know. But why? Because for the length of time, I didn't like my name. I didn't like Larry. I was like, Larry. You know the response I get when I walk into a room? I'm going to a job interview and they like, is Larry Harrison here? And I say, yeah, that's me. They like, you Larry? Because I know what they looking for. Not who. I know what they looking for. And because of that, I was like, call me Jamel. Because that's what you think I am anyway. And being naive and being ignorant, that's what I was thinking. And then you know what came to me today, Brother Harv, and I'm gonna let you go. You know what came to me today, Brother Harv? Real talk. I was talking to somebody today, and I was like, told them about the podcast, about how it was gonna go. And I was like, for the life of time, I hated this name, but I hate Larry, but Larry is on my check. Larry on my bank account. Larry is on my benefits. So not only do my kids eat, go to the doctor, and live well off Larry, so does Larry. Nobody that pay me, nobody that give me benefits, nobody that does anything or clocks in my time calls me Jamel because they don't know who he is. So my name means a lot. The king in King Noah means that much. And with that, I yield. Harv, go off.
Yes, my brother. Thank you very much. It's interesting that we're having this conversation. First, I want to say this. King Noah. I got to go to King Noah for a second. One of the things that's important, we surround ourselves with like-minded people. Going back to Brother Ron's situation. Brother Ron, people who can't see through the lenses that you have, can't see your vision. But there's somebody out there, maybe far and few, but there's somebody out there that can wear those glasses, that can see the vision. And so part of our responsibility is to surround ourselves with those people that have the same vision. That's what brought us together. What brought us together is because we have the same vision. And so therefore our conversation is the same. And so, as far as, creating a community, that is what other folks do. Other folks create communities. See, sometimes as a people, we operate from a place of reaction rather than proaction. and as a proactive community, we have the choice to create our community. We have the choice to create who we speak to, and how they address us. We have the choice to identify like-minded people. Now, here's the thing about that. And I'm going to go back to what you were saying, Brother Larry, in regard to, me being a musician. The majority of people who know me, they never see me, well, not say know me. The majority of people who meet me, the last thing they think about is me being a musician. They have no clue. They'll see football player, they'll see law enforcement, they see all these other things, but they won't see that. And guess what? It's not their responsibility to see that. Here it is. By their fruit, by my fruit, you shall know me. So therefore, you ain't got to know what I do, but when you see what I'll do, you either respect it or not. But whether you respect it or not, I respect it, and I do it. And whether you can appreciate it or not, I respect it and I appreciate it. And goes back to King Noah. What's most important, that King Noah knows that he's the king, and he conducts himself as a king. And the people around King Noah supports his kingdom by, ensuring, hey, brother, your code of conduct. Are you operating as the king is your name? Or are you operating someplace else? Are you living? And the other thing is, me supporting King Noah, making sure that I'm giving him, every time he sees me, he's getting that positive love and that positive information, because that is the community that you set up when we decided that we're going to interact with each other. You know what I'm saying? So we're being proactive rather than reactive. And on that, I yield.
Wow. Yo, let me say something, because I want to try to tie in two things. Earlier in the podcast, Brother Larry said there were people who had no problem calling him king, yet they call his son Noah. And what you just said, Brother Harv, you said that we have to surround ourselves with people with the same vision. And so what came to me is that oftentimes when we surround ourselves with people, we believe that they have the same vision based on what they have said to us. Larry, those brothers that you talk to who refer to you as king, you believed that they had the same vision. And I think about even with this podcast, there were people that became a part of this podcast at one point because we believed that they had the same vision. They indicated that they had the same vision. Their words were spoken that they had the same vision. But in time, you begin to see that maybe they don't have the same vision. And so it's like, that's what we have to guard against. It's easy for the person who just says something off the wall and you go, I'm not fooling with them. Those people don't get close to you to destroy the vision. It's the people that we surround ourselves with who profess to share the same vision and speak in ways that confirm that they have the same vision, but in time, their true vision is revealed. But the problem is sometimes we're so deep in the situation, in the relationship, that they've already kind of destroyed or taken us back. And so, I was just thinking, I was like, man, this is what these brothers are saying. And that's what we have to take away from this. We have to be cautious of who we share our time with when we're working on our vision, because I don't even want to call it a wolf in sheep's clothing, because I don't even want to say they were deceptive. They just truly at heart did not share the vision that they said they did, but in time we saw it. And so that's why, we've kind of had this same core and we're still doing this podcast. No salt, no shame, no disrespect to anybody else, but I think it's accurate. And with that, I yield.
Hey, Brother Rod, now you understand what I'm talking about when I say by their fruit ye shall know them. Because at the end of the day, you can talk that talk all you want to. But see, when you live in life, your ability to be consistent, your ability to be persistent, your ability to be insistent will determine how you walk it and how you live it. And on that, I yield.
I'm gonna say this is City. Let me not go before I allow you to say anything. You free to fly off. I know we cutting close, but I was just gonna leave one last little statement. Then I was gonna let y'all go, but I would like to hear from you if you got some.
You know, I really don't have too much to say. They said it all right. Like, by the fruit that you'll see, like, and it has been shown. Like, I think time, as we all see, like I've just on this podcast, we're just speaking about this alone. We have all seen people on the back end. Yo, I'm with it. This helped me. This is da 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 da. And it's over time. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, so nah, like I said, they said everything proper. So I try and surround yourself with like-minded people that's ready to move. Like not move, but at least they have the same goal as you, end goal. Like we may think about getting there a different way, but as long as we understand that we're trying to get here, you know what I mean? Like that's all you really need. Like I'm trying to get there with you. Let's do it. Like I'm gonna go over here and do this. We could go and see which way works. like. You know what?
Okay. Okay.
I just want to add one more thing, Brother Lab, before you go.
Yeah, do your thing.
This is what I mean when I say, for the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. You see, because we are now living in that experience. Everybody talk to Yahya, but not everybody about it. You understand what I'm saying? And so therefore, I was reading something that say 50% of the work is done by I think it's like 1% or 2% of the people. So in essence, what that means, that's why I say it's lonely at the top, because when we get to that place of of success, far and few are there, because not everybody's willing to do the work. Everybody talk that talk, but not everybody's willing to do the work. So on that I yield.
So I'm not going to touch that because we don't have enough time to touch that. But the idea of the laborers being few and the harvest being plentiful, I get that concept. I know it well. But if we're talking from a spiritual biblical standpoint, everything you're saying is spot on. But when you're talking about this wicked heart of man and the way the mind work, it take way more than just laboring to get to the top, and we're all aware of that. So many that sit at the top have done more than labor to get there. But that's a show for another time. I got one last question. I'm just gonna leave it out. I'm gonna ask the question, then I'm gonna give my own answer, and then I'll let you guys just take it out there. So I guess what I opened up the show with was, is it the insecurity is it the insecurity of people, whether black, white, green, or purple, or is it an inferiority complex that they suffer from, or superior complex that they feel that they feel like they're superior? And after listening to all you gentlemen talk, I would have to say that there is no definitive answer. I think it all depends on who it is. Some people have been through some things that maybe they don't see a king or a queen in them, so they will not acknowledge a king or queen in someone else. Not that they can't, they just won't. They've made a conscious choice, and maybe not conscious. I say that loosely. Let me not offend. Not conscious, but unconscious. An unconscious choice, because they might not be aware of the fact that they feel that way about themselves. But for those who do who are aware that they feel so down on themselves, they will make a conscious choice to not address the king or queen in someone else. They will not encourage uplifting. They will not encourage reaffirming and rebuilding and reassuring. They will not affirm positivity. They will only ensure pessimism. They will only ensure oppression. They will only ensure sadness and deprivation. So I'll leave with this. It's unfortunate that we live in a world full of so much brokenness. But I was aware of that brokenness when I named my son King Noah. And I pray that everybody who's watching this, you brothers that are sitting on here, nobody named me king. That doesn't take away from the king that I am. But I named my son king, not to propel him to be more of a king that he set out to be, but for him to understand the responsibility of the king that he is going to be. Because I'm going to give him everything I got. And I hope that every time you put your best foot forward, it's the king in you that gives it everything you got. It's more than just a name. It's more than just a responsibility. Christ is king. You see his sacrifice? I don't really think we think about that too much. He's King Jesus. And he gave his life for people who he knew before he was nailed to a cross what we were. I named my son King, and he has no idea about what this world is. So imagine what he's going to be because of the king that I know lives. And with that, I yield. And I'll pass it on. Jump in, whoever feels the need. Get froggy. Let's take it out on a bang.
I was going to yield to Harvey, but I guess I'm quicker. So it's been said in the past, and this is my final thought. It's been said in the past that we shouldn't care what people call us. It only matters to what you answer to. And I think that was done as a mechanism for coping at a time where things were pretty horrific for people of color. And I think that advice was pretty much valid and accurate, and it saved lives. But I think we now live in a world where we have a right to demand what we are called, and we should only be addressed by who we are. And that begins with our name. And with that, I yield.
I'm gonna leave it like this. Look to the inner man for which cometh your help. Oh, I forgot it. I forgot. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Anyway, I'm gonna put it this way. Bottom line is, we are the captains of our own ships. We are responsible for our own existence. You know, I have learned that it's time for us to be proactive than reactive, which means that we have to create our experience. We are responsible for creating our experience. And if we have children, we are also creating the experience for our children. And when we have people around us, when we're nurturing them and loving them, we're helping to create their experience. And so all I'm saying is that when we say that we are kings, then we must build our kingdoms, and hopefully we build them in wisdom, knowledge, insight, understanding, and balance it with love. And on that, I yield.
Take us home, Off City.
There we go. How did I mute myself? Nah, yeah, no, my brothers always say it, so I'm gonna learn from my older brothers, like they always teach us. Let's flip the question. I'm gonna flip the question. Why is it a problem that you can't call him that? Why is it a problem that is his name and you can't just state him as his name? If you can answer those questions, that's a self-reflection question to ask yourself. Like if that's a problem that you can't say King Noah, you got to shorten it to Noah. Like why does that bother you so much that you have to drop the beginning of his name? But like I said, I hope that worked. Flip the question. Well, y'all know what time it is. Let's get these sponsors out. Deep conversation. Let's get these sponsors out real quick. Let's give it day ones. All right. First, let's Crosby Legal. Let's salute. Yes, 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 yes. A Life of Phoenix. So let's salute. Yes, 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 yes. Father's Vision. Yes, 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 yes. Let's also do Tough Stuff Production LLC. Yes, 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 yes. Then PM Prosperity LLC. Yes, yes, yes. And then we also have Star City Cleaning LLC. Yes, yes, yes. Got a new one. We're going to get this last one. Phoenix Health Service. Yes, yes, yes. Look up that. We're doing that big too. All right. Wow. Y'all know what it is. Me and my brothers hope you enjoyed the conversation. We hope you continue the conversation in the comments. Let's get the sharing. Let's get the likes up. If you learned something, you should send it out to teach another person. If you like the conversation, you should share it to let somebody else know. Subscribe so you can always come when we live, and you can ask us questions when we live during the conversation. Hop on calls and all that, all right? Let's make sure we get that going, all right? But me and my brothers hope you continue this conversation there, and we also hope you continue this conversation with your brothers. Continue discussion there. Next week we're gonna come back. You know we've been low. We're gonna come back next week, and we're gonna ask the question. Well, Brother Larry's gonna ask the question: is the movement tainted? Ooh, we're gonna get into that. What you mean? Is the movement tainted? We're gonna have some special guests as well. We're gonna bring the ladies back, so we're gonna try and get a ladies' view as well. So, all right, y'all better stay tuned. Ooh, gonna be a good one. All right. With all that being said, y'all all know my motto: walk in love and live in your blessings. With that said, me and my brothers, we out. Be safe out there. We love y'all.